Hello and welcome to my 4-part series entitled Caregiver Support. Each week in October 2021, I will be sharing my personal point of view as a caregiver. I will discuss sensitive topics such as cancer, death, mental illness, and other subject matters relating but not limited to caregiving. Please keep in mind that I am not a medical professional. This entry is solely to share my personal experience in hopes of helping someone else who may be facing similar life situations and are looking for relatable content. This is not to be used as a professional or medical guide. For those of you who are brand new to my podcast and YouTube channel or did not know, my mom passed away from metastatic breast cancer on June 6, 2014. Since then, I have been doing my best to share her story, intertwined with my own, in hopes of helping others who are facing similar life scenarios. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and to learn more about what an amazing person my mom was and how she continues to live on through others. In my previous episode, I covered the preparation and planning that goes into caregiving for a loved one. I discussed the importance of your loved one having an attorney, their final wishes, hospice, and to be aware of vulture-like people. Now I'm going to move to the last weeks and moments with my mom as her daughter and caregiver. As a caregiver to my mom, I had to make choices that I never imagined I would have to make, doing things that I never thought would have to be done. The roles reversed, and I was the primary person responsible for my mom. Thankfully, I had a ton of help around me. As my husband Dexter worked, I was able to take our 2-year-old daughters to a day school that they loved. This allowed me to spend more time caring for my mom. My mom lived with my grandma, my mom's mom, who I affectionately call Ma, and my uncle. Ma took care of my uncle, who is disabled, and did her best to help me out with my mom. This broke my heart knowing what Ma was going through. And just as a side note, Ma is still thriving and caring for my uncle. She is 88 years old and she is a phenomenon. And when you are in charge of providing for others, whether or not in a direct caregiver role, it is crucial that you accept help from those you trust. Take the offer and go for a walk, get a bite to eat, or read a book. Do anything that will recharge your body and mind. You deserve to be cared for too. And as previously mentioned, be wary of vulture-like people. These are the ones that may have hurt you and or your loved one in the past, or ones you hardly heard from until the end is near. They smell money and opportunities to look like heroes and will take advantage of your loved one's last moments. If you at all feel uneasy about someone being around your loved one, talk to your loved one's attorney or medical advisor. And I did this and even had others around me telling me not to trust this person that we allowed back into our lives. But I was still too weak. I was losing my mom and I didn't want to lose this other person too. As challenging as it is, you must stay strong for yourself and your loved one. And what happens after life is still a mystery, obviously. The one thing I know for sure is that hospice was correct in telling me that my mom may see and speak to loved ones who passed before her. Her maternal grandma and her dad came to visit. When my mom first told me that her grandma and dad were there, I couldn't comprehend the reality of such. My mom became frustrated when I wouldn't talk to them or I got in their way. I couldn't see them or feel their presence and felt horrible for bursting my mom's imagination, is what I felt like. However, with time and acceptance, I was able to conceive the notion that they were there to visit and help my mom make her journey from life to death. This brought me great comfort in thinking, knowing that my mom had people around her to comfort her in life and spirits of those she loved and missed there to guide her into the afterlife. So whatever you believe in, having faith does help to get you through this time as a caregiver. Knowing, seeing, believing, and or experiencing your loved one filled with happiness to see those that have passed before them offers comfort in knowing that they are not alone in this process. There's no need to question it at this time. It's best just to go with it and reflect upon it when you have time to yourself. Personally, this has given me much peace over the years, since my mom passed. Now, as a quick backstory, my mom was very superstitious. She always had a thing against the number 6. I teased her because it would bother her when there were 6 donuts left over or she had $6 in her wallet. I could never understand what she had against this number until June 6, 2014. Leading up to this day, my mom would randomly ask if it was the last day of school. I reminded her that it was not June 6 yet because she was a school teacher and she wanted to know when the last day of the school year was. So after the countdown to my birthday, the countdown to the last day of the students would be in school, it continued on. Every day, I would bring the calendar to her and I would sit on the bed and we would count how many more days until her students would be done for the school year. By the morning of June 6, my mom had stopped eating and drinking for over 24 hours. Her last meal was our pasta dinner with green olives and iced tea. She only took a couple of bites and had a few sips of tea, but that was all. Her eyesight was lost, her skin was yellow, and she no longer smelled like her favorite body lotion or perfume. Hospice had told me that she was going to die soon. I didn't want to let her go, but knew she was fighting for a reason. I would lay next to her, hug her, kiss her forehead and her cheeks, and I would tell her how much that I love her, appreciate her, and that I was going to miss her. And I would tell her that it was okay to let go because I didn't want her to be in any more pain. And for some unknown reason to me, at that time, she kept holding on. A pastor and his wife from a church I was attending came to visit. The pastor recited a beautiful verse and prayer, and it was not one filled with goodbyes, but more of peace and love. With all the effort remaining in my mom, she sat up. She did her best to follow his voice and said her final 4 words. Thank you. Love you. Supporting her back, I guided her back down to lay on her side and she closed her eyes. My mom knew it was June 6th because I told her just like I did every day. Just as she told me for her final moments, she only wanted her mom to be with her. She didn't want me to be around when she died. Around 7:30 that night, I gave my mom her last dose of morphine. Like every night before leaving her side, I would recite the following. I love you. Thank you for everything. I'll see you soon. I love you. I would kiss her forehead and hug her lightly and walk her out of the bed, or walk myself out of the bedroom. I said my siyas to my ma and my uncle because when my grandfather passed, which was my mom's dad, my poppy, he would never say goodbye. He always said it was just a see you later. So that's just what we do. We always say see ya. And that night, I told my ma how proud I am of her. I hugged her and I told her how much I loved her before leaving for the night. Now, for whatever reason, when I got home, I did not shower right away. I stayed dressed and began cleaning around the house. And soon I received the call from my uncle and heard my mom on the other end. It was a sound that I never heard before, but had read plenty about it. I knew. Dexter stayed with their daughters and called their godparents as I drove 20 minutes back to be there with my ma and my uncle and my mom. And on the drive, that's when I realized it was the number 6, and my mom knew it. Like I've said before, my mom never wanted to be a burden. In her final moments, she fought through the pain so that she would not interrupt the remaining school year for her students at Clay High School. She waited until she knew that they were done for the year to let go. She peacefully died with her mom by her side on June 6, at age 56, taking her last breath at 9:55 and entering into the afterlife at 9:56 at night. So it's been 7 years since my mom passed at the time of this recording. Looking back, there are many things that I wish I would have done differently. And you as a caregiver may experience this too. Just like any decision, you're doing your best with the information you're given. And that's okay. Don't be hard on yourself because you've already been through so much. Grief, as they say, comes in waves. The waves, they don't get easier to swim through, but they come in less as more time passes. There are many times where I'll be fine, I'll be okay. Then a song comes on, or I see other moms and daughters spending time together. And during these moments, I have to find a place for myself to cry and acknowledge my grief. The remainder of the day will be difficult to get through, but I make it by thinking of the time that my mom and I had together and how grateful I am for Dexter and our daughters. And holidays are not the same for me. I tried to decorate and gift give like my mom, but I can never hold a candle to her and her traditions. Instead, I've accepted that those were our special moments that I have to hold in my memories, but will never experience with her again. She's gone. And I have to move forward by creating traditions that work for me and my family now. Now, one thing that has helped me is to help other people who are going through something similar. I remember being told at a grief share group that it helps to have a follow-up. In other words, when someone you know loses a loved one, follow up with them on the anniversary. Hospice did this for me, which was a huge help, because once your loved one has passed away, the support and the people around you drift away too. They don't do it to be mean, but life goes on and they have to move on too. And this can make it very difficult for those grieving because we are all still mourning our loved ones. So don't be afraid to send a quick message or a text to let your grieving friend, coworker, or family member know that you are thinking of them. And you don't have to mention why you're reaching out because they're going to know. Just receiving a simple message such as, "I'm thinking of you," provides a moment of comfort during a difficult season. I place the dates on my Google, I can't even talk, I'm so sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied, but I place the dates on my Google Calendar and make monthly reminders leading up to the first year. After that, I have a yearly reminder to reach out, just so that they know they are loved and thought of, as are their loved ones. It's a simple gesture, but it goes a long way. And I appreciate you all for taking the time to listen as I share a portion of this personal journey. If you need to vent or chat, please feel free to reach out to me through Instagram or TikTok at jennifer.menendez.522 or message me through my blog at Jenny, Jenny, Lynn, Lin, 1922. So it's jennylyn1922.com. So moving forward, for the month of November 2021, I will be focusing on ways for being thankful through different mental exercises and suggestions. The first episode will be on November 5th. Until then, please be kind to yourself and to others. Stay safe, and thank you for jamming with me.